Apakah aku salah nih? Zoom ya. Zoom. Assalamualaikum.
Nggak ada.
Drama.
Oke, Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Selamat datang rekan-rekan peserta kuliah umum di hari Sabtu yang cerah ini, agak mendung. Bersama-sama mendengarkan pemaparan dari narasumber yang akan berbicara tentang keamanan data, seputar keamanan data dan cyber security, sesuai dengan tema kita pada pagi ini, maksudnya pada siang ini. Pak Galih, apakah pembicara sudah hadir?
Sudah, Mas.
Oh ya, oke. Oke. Play video. Ya. Oke. Langsung aja. Sebelum kita mulai, saya akan membacakan susunan acara. Pertama, ini ada sambutan nggak Pak Galih dari Pak Prodi?
Mungkin nanti di akhir aja, Mas.
Oke, ya ada sambutan nih. Ada sambutan. Tadi sudah di play lagu Indonesia Raya, sepertinya. Berikutnya, gimana?
Pak Fatur sudah datang, Pak WD3 kita.
Oh iya, nah nanti
bisa.
ya sebelum kita mulai.
Saya langsung sambutan.
Oh iya Pak, monggo Pak. Nanti sebelum kita mulai akan ini berikut sambutan dari Pak WD3, Pak Fatur Rahman. Untuk waktu dan tempat kami persilahkan. Monggo Pak Fatur Rahman. Monggo Pak Fatur untuk sambutannya.
Oke, saya bisa.
Suaranya patah-patah Pak. Mungkin koneksinya kurang baik. Monggo Pak.
Halo.
Oh ya Pak, bisa diulangi Pak
Halo,
Fatur?
bisa.
Ya Pak, bisa diulangi Pak karena
Pak,
suaranya
kedengaran.
patah-patah Pak Fatur. Suaranya putus-putus. Mungkin koneksinya masih bermasalah.
Kalau saya kedengar.
Iya, kedengaran Pak. Monggo Pak, bisa sambut kata sambutan dari
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Pertama, mari jalankan kegiatan penting, yaitu berupa nandang akan sampai kedua adalah mari senantiasa kita junjungkan kepada Nabi Muhammad SAW syafaatnya selalu menyertai kita hari ini dan esok hari. Pertama, yang saya hormati pimpinan universitas beserta jajarannya, pimpinan fakultas Saintek, Dr. Hajar Korul. Wardat utama ini, kami atas nama pimpinan tentu mengapresiasi betul kegiatan ini, terutama berkaitan dengan halo?
Iya, Pak. Monggo, Pak. Masih
Ya.
kedengaran, Pak? Masih lancar?
Baik.
Ya.
Oke. Kami atas nama pimpinan tentu mengapresiasi betul dengan diselenggarakannya kuliah umum tentang cyber security, trends dan challenge-nya. Kenapa kuliah umum ini sangat penting? Karena di era digital ini banyak predator-predator yang kemudian mendulang data-data atas nama kepentingan apa, kemudian data itu menjadi bocor. Makanya menjadi wajar kalau kemudian baru-baru ini Kominfo, kalau saya tidak salah dengar, itu sudah mensahkan ya undang-undang tentang keamanan data, dengan harapan melalui undang-undang tersebut data-data yang kita berikan untuk kepentingan apapun itu tidak didulang oleh kepentingan sesaat. Terutama ini menjelang pemilu ya, ini banyak sekali kemudian data-data yang kemudian didulang untuk kepentingan oligarkis tertentu. Selain itu yang paling penting juga ada banyak kemudian data-data akun-akun kita yang kemudian dimanfaatkan oleh kalau dalam istilah saya itu preman-preman digital, sehingga yang mereka di mana mereka tidak bertanggung jawab. Maka pada poin penting ini saya kira kuliah umum yang disampaikan oleh narasumber nanti ini sangat bermanfaat bagi kita. Baik, saya kira itu sambutan kami mewakili pimpinan Fakultas Sains dan Teknologi. Sekali lagi kami turut mengapresiasi. Semoga kegiatan ini menjadi inspirasi bagi kita semua dan sekaligus menjadi bahan pembelajaran di kuliah. Saya kira itu Mas Manda, terima kasih, kurang lebihnya mohon maaf. Wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Pak
Saya
Fatur.
mohon maaf undur diri ya.
Oh, nggih, Pak. Monggo, Pak.
Saya
Silakan,
langsung
Pak.
undur diri karena ada kegiatan.
Iya,
Sukses ya
silakan.
semuanya.
Iya, Pak. Nggih, Pak. Terima kasih sekali, Pak. Ya.
Sama-sama ya.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Fatur, tadi sambutan dari fakultas diwakili oleh dari BD3 yaitu Pak Fatur Rahman. Berikutnya untuk acara kuliah umum ini, insya Allah saya nanti akan selaku MC sekaligus sebagai moderator akan mendampingi pembicara untuk selama acara ini berlangsung, yaitu dari jam 1 sampai sekitar kurang lebih jam 3-an nanti. Nah, nanti akan ada beberapa sesi, yaitu sebelum kita mulai nanti ada beberapa kuesioner yang diminta diisi sebelumnya. Oke. Mungkin sebelum kita mulai, rekan-rekan bisa menghidupkan kamera sebentar, kita mau foto dulu, karena biasanya kalau di akhir acara biasanya suka lupa, suka ketinggalan. Gitu. Ya, rekan-rekan bisa hidupkan kamera dulu, kita foto dulu sebentar. Silahkan untuk daftar hadir. Ya. Oke, ini yang moto saya apa Mbak Anti nih?
Oke aja Mas. Oke,
Oh,
siap
oke.
ya.
Oke, satu,
2, 3.
Ya, satu lagi. Slide berikutnya, ini ada 3 slide kayaknya. Slide berikutnya, 1.
Slide berikutnya ya. 1, 2, 3.
Ya, Oke, slide berikutnya terakhir.
Oke, sip Mas.
Ya.
Terima kasih.
Oke, makasih. Untuk acara berikutnya, kita absensi nanti akan di-share. Di-share-nya kapan nih absensinya, Mbak Yanti? Mbak Anti, absensinya nanti apa sekarang?
Di tengah-tengah aja ya,
Ya,
Mas
nanti
ya?
di tengah-tengah. Nanti kita akan memberikan absensi. Oke, pembicara kita ini dari kebetulan dapat pembicara yang dari Dr. Bernardi Pranggono. Alhamdulillah sudah hadir di tengah-tengah kita. Sebentar. Oke, Dr. Bernardi, apakah sudah siap? Mungkin bisa cek sound dulu. Beliau adalah, oh ya siap. Oke, terima kasih. Beliau adalah senior lecturer di Computer Network Engineering dari Sheffield Hallam University. Ini dari Sheffield, kalau nggak salah, Inggris nggih, Pak? Dia Inggris nggih, Pak. Nggih. Ya, alhamdulillah nih Pak Bernardi Dr. Bernardi sudah hadir di tengah-tengah kita. Nanti apakah saya pakai bahasa Inggris atau bahasa Indonesia, Pak? bahasa Inggris atau
Silakan.
Indonesia saja gitu, Pak. Saya takutnya salah ngomong. Nanti sudah hadir di tengah kita. Monggo nanti saya akan mendampingi Pak Bernardi mungkin untuk dan sebagai moderator sekaligus menjadi fasilitator. Mungkin nanti ada yang mau termasuk bagian tanya jawabnya, Pak. Gitu. Tanpa berlama-lama lagi untuk menyingkat waktu, berikutnya kami serahkan. Ini gimana Pak Bernardi? Mekanismenya? Sambil apakah materi atau bisa langsung tanya jawab atau bagaimana nanti rencananya Pak?
Ya mungkin materi dulu gitu ya. Sambil nanti pertanyaan di akhir gitu ya.
Oke. Ya. Nanti berarti untuk sesi yang pertama ini Dr. Bernardi akan memberikan pemaparan materi. Sebelumnya perkenalkan dulu saya Mandadi Kusuma, salah satu dosen di UIN Sunan Kalijaga, dosen teknik informatika, dan kebetulan juga konsentrasi saya di bidang networking. Jadi sama. Ya, semoga bisa nanti bisa nyambung gitu. Oke. Kalau gitu demikian dari pembukaannya tanpa berlama-lama. Selanjutnya untuk waktu dan tempat, monggo Dr. Mulyadi kami serahkan ke waktu dan tempat ke pemateri. Monggo Pak Bernardi, silakan.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Mandadi ya. Ya, saya share screen ya.
Monggo Pak, kalau mau share screen silakan.
Iya, bisa terlihat ya.
Sudah terlihat. Sudah terlihat.
Ya. Ya, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya, alhamdulillah. Saya senang sekali dapat kesempatan untuk sharing pada pagi hari ini. Terima kasih atas undangannya untuk berbagi sesuai saran dari Bu Maria Ulfat, bilangnya mix ya, bahasa Inggris dan bahasa Indonesia, tapi mungkin lebih banyak bahasa Inggris kan. Mungkin saya akan lebih banyak bahasa Inggris ya di sini ya. Saya sekarang mengajar di Sheffield Hallam University di UK. Kebetulan dulu satu kota dengan Bu Maria Ulfa. Okay, I'll start my presentation. So it's about the security trends and challenges. So some of the outline. So we will discuss a bit about security, because security is quite cybersecurity is quite wide area. And then we will discuss about different type of cyber attacks, and then protecting your data. And then we will discuss on trends and challenges. So what is cybersecurity? Different definition on cybersecurity. So there are also you probably also learn about information security, network security, physical security, etc. So cybersecurity basically is kind of involving more on cyber. So we have different type of devices that can contribute to cybersecurity. So one of the definition of cybersecurity is a set of technology that processes designed to protect not only computers but also networks, programs, and also data from attack or unauthorized access. If we look at cybersecurity, so when in the world that we live today, so in the connected electronic information network is becoming an integral part of our daily lives. Or types of organizations like academic or medical, financial, education institution. They use networks to operate effectively. So they utilize the network by collecting, processing, storing, and sharing vast amounts of digital information. As more digital information is gathered and shared, the protection of this information is becoming even more vital to our national security and economic stability. Cybersecurity is basically is a process, is an ongoing effort to protect these network systems and all of the data from unauthorized use or harm. On a personal level, you need to safeguard your identity, your data, also your computing device. At the corporate level, so it is everyone's responsibility to protect the organization reputation, data, and customers. at the state level, national security and the safety and well-being of the citizen are at stake. So for national level, so it is a job for the government basically to ensure to protect the critical infrastructure like electricity, water, etc. And it's also their citizens from citizen data actually from unauthorized access. When we look at some of the facts, actually, we know well learned from Sun Tzu. So we know we need to know the enemy before we know how to basically defend the attack. So, for example, some of the facts is cybercrime is like constantly increase, like $6 trillion in 2021. It's increased like almost like double from 3 trillion in 2015. Then customer fraud and scam is around 1.9 billion US dollar, and about 90% of successful cyber attacks are caused by phishing attack, and around 14 million new phishing sites per month, and 95% of cybersecurity breaches is caused by human error. And this security awareness thing, they can reduce the risk by around 70%. So why do we need cybersecurity? So as basically as more time is spent online, so we expose our identity both online and offline. So this identity need to be protected. So your offline identity is the person who your friends and family interact with on daily basis at home, at school, or work. They know your personal information, such as your name, your age, and where do you live, etc. And then you also have online identity. It is who you are in cyberspace. Your online identity is how you present yourself to others online. This online identity should only reveal a limited amount of information about you, because once it is shared online, it is very difficult to get it back. So we should take care of when choosing username, for example, or alias for your online identity. This username, for example, should not include any personal information, not like your real name and then your birth of date, for example. That's well like too personal information there. So, but it should be something appropriate and respectful. And this username should not let strangers to think that you are an easy target for cyber crimes or unwanted attention. So yes, we have online identity and offline identity. So when we look at well, any information about you, they can be considered to be your data. So this personal information can uniquely identify you as an individual. So this data includes the pictures and messages that you exchange with your family and friends online. So that's why in the UK or in the EU, so there are not well, there is a strict rule actually. Like not many people wanted to share the private picture, picture of their children, for example, because it's regarding this is a privacy matter. So you, and then like many if you see in photos and media, etc. So they basically they blur the face of children. So because basically children doesn't have consent about the privacy yet. So this other information such as name, social security number, date, and place of birth or is known by you and used to identify you. So information such as medical, education, financial, and employment information that can also be used to identify you online. So like a medical record. So this is like is one of the confidential records. So like your prescription is also part of your confidential record. So for example, you have counseling as a child when there was major changes in the family. So this will be recorded in your medical records. And also for medical history, etc. That's is confidential record. So then we also have, for example, education records. So as you progress through your education, information about your grades and tests, exam scores, your attendance, course, CISCAN award, and degree rewarded, and any disciplinary reports may be in your education record. So this record may also include contact information, health, and immunization records. So this is all like considered confidential. And also employment and financial records like your income, and then your tax records, payslip, credit card statement. Well, in the, for example, and then credit rating and bank statement. And then also past employment and performance. So this all consider your personal data. So we discussed about the personal data. So where is your data actually? So all of this information is about you. So there are different laws that protect your privacy and data in your country. So it depends on the country. So it's different from country to country. But we need to know where is your data stored actually. So for example, if your medical records is like in the UK, so it's in your doctor office. So some probably in the insurance company. So like in Indonesia, it's like in like hospital, the doctor that you had been consulted to in Puskesmas, for example. And then also in the store loyalty cards, like when we buy or purchase something for like shopping. So the stores basically compile your purchases. For example, if you use online shopping like Amazon, so they know what you were buying, what you want to purchase, your preferences, etc. So they sometimes share with marketing partners user profiles to target advertisements. So for example, when we subscribe to like Yahoo or Google, so you probably seen like like many targeted advertisement, which is basically shared by Google to their partners. And then we have like online picture, like friends. So this, well, if not careful, so your online picture will be, strangers may also have a copy, and they can use it for any activities, including criminal activities. So we need to be careful. So because basically when the picture were posted online, so basically the pictures also save on servers in different parts of the world. So now the picture is not only available on your personal devices, but it's also shared, well, we don't know, in different server of the part of the world. So they share maybe in by 10 people, 100,000 or millions. So then your computing devices not just store your data. So these devices has become the portal to your data and generate information about you. So we normally now, when we have access to like smart devices, smartphone, so basically we use our smart devices to do, well, almost everything. So we do it for work, for study, for socialize, communicate with other people, but also for like shopping, accessing, so for online banking, so transfer funds to other people. We all use our computing devices. So this computing devices is very important, and this store like lot of confidential data related to our personal data. With all these computing devices, basically they can also generate information about us. So with all this information about you available online, so your personal data has become profitable to hackers. So how do criminals get your money, basically? So they can use your online credential, give thieves access to your accounts. They use creative schemes like trick into wiring money to your friends or family. So this happen all the time. So they impersonate you using your pictures and then sending your friends from the new number or WhatsApp number, and then could you help me to transfer some money, etc. And also they do, well, some tricks. So basically impersonate like authority. So this happened in the Indonesian PhD student in the UK. So they just came to the UK to study here, and basically he received a call from saying that, so this is like from the police, and then the police asking like, okay, because you are involved in kind of drugs related crime, so you need to come to our office, and then before that, so you need to make save your money because your account is not safe. So, and then they asked to transfer the money from her account to different accounts. And yes, so this is and yeah, well, she actually transferred the money actually. So it's so this kind of crimes can happen to anyone. So we basically just need to be careful about our data. Then, so why do they want your identity? So it's for long-term profit or just short-term profits. So have for like medical benefits, file a fake tax return, open credit card accounts, and then obtain loans with using pinjol, for example, in Indonesia. So this part of the target. So, and then we also have not organizational data. This is basically like different type of organizational data. So traditional data is like personal. So like application materials, our payroll, offer letter, employee agreements. So the corporate data includes personal information like intellectual properties. So and then this also include like patents that we work in for a company, new product plans, and then allow a business to gain economic advantage over its competitors. So this intellectual property can be considered a trade secret. Then losing this information can be, well, disastrous for the future of the company. So the financial data such as income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement of a company gives insight into the health of the company. And then we have what I call it like Internet of Things, or and then something they call it smart devices and big data. So while with the emergence of the IoT, there is a lot of more data to manage and secure. IoT is a large network of physical objects, such as sensors and equipment that extend beyond the traditional computer network. All these connections, plus the fact that we have expanded storage capacity and storage services through the cloud and virtualization, lead to the exponential growth of data. This data has created a new area of interest in technology and business called big data, with the velocity, volume, variety of data generated by the IoT, and the daily operation of business. The confidentiality, integrity, and availability of this data is vital to the survival of the organization. So we learn like the triad of the in information security, like confidentiality, integrity, and availability, known as CIA triad. It's basically a guideline for information security for an organization. Confidentiality ensures the privacy of data by restricting information. And then confidentiality ensure a privacy of data by restricting access through the authentication, encryption, etc. And then integrity, like make sure the accuracy of trustworthiness of the information. And also availability. So another term of confidentiality is privacy, which is basically company policies to restrict access to the information to authorized personnel and ensure that only those authorized individuals view this data. So, for example, the data that belong to marketing department, and then if it's confidential, so this is also only available to marketing department, not other department. So there's many different methods that can make sure confidentiality in organization. So methods to ensure confidentiality include like data encryption, and then username, user ID and password, like then multi-factor authentication, and minimizing exposure of sensitive information. Integrity basically is accuracy, consistency, and trustworthiness of the data during its entire life cycle. So data must be unaltered during transit and not changed by unauthorized entities. So file formation and user access control can prevent unauthorized access. And then version control can be used to prevent accidental changes by authorized users. Backup must be available to restore any corrupted data. Availability, basically maintaining equipment, performing hardware repairs, keeping operating system and software up to date, and creating backups will ensure the availability of the network and data to the authorized users. So plans should be in place to recover quickly from natural or man-made disasters. Security equipment or software such as firewall guard against downtime due to attacks such as denial, like a DOS attack. And then what happens if we don't have a proper security measure to protect our data? So we probably seen this security breach word recently. So, for example, in Indonesia, we have this Indonesia investigating alleged data breach at state-owned firms, and like Cominfo looks into alleged IndiHome major data breach, PLN data breach, like leak 17 million user data. So PLN IndiHome suspected data breaches underline
Your call
urgency
is
of
being recorded by Calibri.
PDP bill. This is what happened before the Undang-Undang PDP, which is pelindungan data pribadi, has not been legalized by the parliament. So this PDP is very important to protect our data, especially with online world like now. So like in EU, which is you probably heard about GDPR. So this protecting the confidentiality, the data, the personal data that is stored in different servers in the companies. So it is the company's responsibility actually to protect those data, so the company can be fined by the law if they are proven to be not guarding the data, not following, trying to secure the data properly. So what is the impact of security breach? So different, many impacts. For example, one of the security breach involving VTech, which is one of the high-tech toy maker for children. This suffered security breach to its database in November 2015. Basically, this breach could affect millions of customers around the world, including children. So the data breach expose sensitive information, including customer names, email addresses, passwords, pictures, and also chat logs. Toy tablet had become a new target for hackers. The customer had shared photos and used to chat features through the toy tablets. The information was not secured properly, and the company website did not support secure SSL communication. Even though the breach did not expose any credit card information and personal identification data, the company was suspended on the stock exchange because the concern of the hack was so great. So VTech did not safeguard the customer's information properly, and it was exposed during the breach. Even though the company informed its customer that their password has been hashed, which is basically like protected, it was still possible for the hackers to decipher them, to read them. The password in the database were scrambled using MD5 hash function. But the security questions and answer were stored in plain text. And unfortunately, also the MD5 hash function has known vulnerabilities. So the hackers can determine the original password by comparing millions of pre-calculated hash values. With the information exposed in this data breach, cyber criminals could use it to create email accounts, apply for credits, and commit crimes before the children were old enough to go to school. For the parents of these children, the cyber criminals could take over the online accounts because many people use or reuse their password on different websites and accounts. So the security breach not only impacted the privacy of the customers, it also ruined the company reputation, as indicated by the company when its presence on the stock exchange was suspended. For parents, it is also a wake-up call to be more vigilant about their children's privacy online and demand better security for children products. For the manufacturers of network-connected products, they need to be more aggressive in the protection of customer data and privacy now in the future as the cyber attack landscape evolves. Then we look at some of the type of the attackers. So there can be like 3 different type of attackers, like amateur attackers. So it's like kind of script kiddies, so they with little or no skill, so they just downloaded some attack script from the internet and then just use the existing tools without probably knowing the depth technical aspect of the tools, and then also probably not known about the consequences of the tools. Then hackers, which is break into computer and networks to gain access, which is can have like white hats, which is break into system with permission from the company to testing their security to discover weaknesses, so the security of the system can be improved. Gray hats, which is compromise system without permission, but sometimes they also notify the company if they found some vulnerabilities. And black hats, which is take advantage of any vulnerability for illegal personal, financial, or political gain. And there are some like organized hackers, which is organization of cyber criminals, activists, terrorists, and also state-sponsored hackers. So there is also like different threats, like internal and external threats. So internal security threats, for example, can be an employee of or contract partner which is mishandle confidential data. So the internal security threats, they can threaten the operation of internal servers or network infrastructure devices, and then facilitate outside attacks by connecting infected USB media into corporate computer systems. And then, well, this is actually happened in in Iran, actually, when one of their nuclear plant has been attacked just by, well, like malware attack using this infected USB media by one of the employee. So then this can be also accidentally invite malware onto the network through malicious email or website. So like phishing attack, like in the email, and then says like link, and then some employee click it, and then this incidentally basically install malware into the PC, and then the PC basically is connected to the network, so they can replicate to the network and went into server, etc., and get confidential data. Then can cause great damage because of the direct access. Then there's also external security threat, which is exploit vulnerabilities in network or computing devices, vulnerabilities in operating system, for example. And some they also use social engineering to gain access. So by impersonating authorities, like I mentioned before, say, or from like the IT department calling like, oh, I need to fix your issue with your computer, so can I have your username and password, etc. So one of the earliest hacker called Kevin Mitnick is used this, was kind of master of this social engineering. And then what is cyber warfare? So cyber warfare is basically this conflict using cyberspace. So one of the example is the cyberspace has become another important dimension of warfare, where nation can carry out conflict without the clashes of traditional troops and machine. So conflict using cyberspace, basically. So this cyber is an internet-based conflict involves the penetration of computer system and networks of other nations. So these attackers have the resources and expertise to launch massive internet-based attacks against other nations to cause damage or disrupt services, such as shutting down a power grid. So for example, like this Stuxnet malware. So this designed to damage Iran's nuclear enrichment plant. So it's very like one of the earliest. So they use modular coding and use stolen digital certificate. So the purpose of cyber is so to gain advantages over adversaries, nation or competitors, so they can sabotage the infrastructure of other nation, give the attackers the ability to blackmail governmental personnel. Citizen may lose confidence in the government's ability to protect them, and then also affect the citizens' faith in their government without ever physically invading the targeted nation. So next we will look like some of the attacks concept and techniques. So how cyber attacks work? So basically an attack particularly if carried out by a skilled adversary, so they may consist of repeated stages. So following specific stages, understanding the types of attack and the stages involved will help us to better defend ourselves. So so how to finding security vulnerabilities? So there are different vulnerabilities. So security vulnerabilities are kind of software or hardware defect. After gaining knowledge of vulnerability, so malicious users, they can attempt to exploit it. An exploit is the term used to describe a program written to take advantage of known vulnerability. The act of using an exploit against vulnerability is referred to as an attack. The goal of the attack is to gain access to the system, the data it hosts, or to specific resources. Uh, so software vulnerabilities are usually introduced by errors in the operating system or application code. Despite all the effort companies put into finding and patching software vulnerabilities, it is common for new vulnerabilities to appear. Microsoft, Apple, and other operating system producer release patches and updates almost every day. So because they found some issues, some security bugs, security issue, vulnerabilities in their operating system. So application updates are also common. Applications such as web browsers, mobile apps, and web server are often updated by companies. So some of the like in 2015, a major vulnerability called Sinful Knock was discovered in Cisco iOS. So Cisco is basically like a major network equipment vendor. So it's been used in like got like major market in the world basically. So many telecommunication companies, they use Cisco gear, Cisco equipment. So in this, Cisco iOS is basically Cisco operating system. This vulnerability allowed attackers to gain control of enterprise-grade routers, such as Cisco 1841, 2811, and 3825 routers. So the attackers could then monitor all network communication and had the ability to infect other network devices. This vulnerability was introduced into the system when an altered iOS version was installed in the routers. So then the goal of software update is to stay current and avoid exploitation of vulnerabilities, while some companies have penetration testing teams dedicated to search, find, and patch software vulnerabilities before they can get exploited. Third-party security researchers also specialize in finding vulnerabilities in software. Google's Project Zero is a great example of such practice. After discovering a number of vulnerabilities in various software used by the end users, Google formed a permanent team dedicated to finding software vulnerabilities. And then also have like hardware vulnerability, so often introduced by hardware design flaws. So RAM memory, for example, is essential. Capacitor installed very close to one another. It was discovered that due to proximity constant changes applied to one of this capacitor could influence neighbor. So different type of security vulnerabilities and against security vulnerabilities. So we have buffer overflow with data is then beyond the limits of a buffer. Then non-validated inputs force programs to behave in an intended way. This condition like improperly ordered or timed events, weaknesses in security practice, like protect sensitive data through authentication, authorization, and encryption, and access control problem, which access control to physical equipment and resources, security practice. And there's also malware attack, which is short for malicious software. Basically, malware is any code that can be used to steal data, bypass access control, or cause harm, or compromise a system. So some of the types of malware, like spyware, which is designed to track and spy on the user, and then adware with deliver advertisement usually comes with spyware. Bot, which is automatically perform action. Ransomware hold the computer system or the data captive until a payment is made. So ransomware is like probably the most popular malware. And there are many happening, which this company has been the victims of this ransomware. Scareware which persuade the user to take specific action based on fear. So like rootkit, they modify the operating system to create a backdoor, virus, malicious executable code that is attached to other executable files. Then also Trojan horse, which is carries out malicious operation under the guise of desired operation, worm replicated themselves by independently exploiting vulnerabilities in networks. And also man in the middle or man in the mobile, which is take control of a device without the user knowledge. So, and then how we know that our devices, our computing devices got malware. So some of the symptoms I explained here. So there is an increase in CPU usage. So if you think well, in the computer, actually, we can see, oh, this is not normal CPU usage in the computer. So computers is like decrease computer speed, computers feel slow, your computing device like feels slow, etc. Then computer freeze or crashes like more often. Then this decrease in when browsing with web browser. There are also unexplainable problems with network connection. Then we notice like files are modified or deleted. Also presence of unknown files, programs, or desktop icons suddenly appear in our computer. There are unknown processes running. Then programs are turning off or reconfiguring themselves. Or email is being sent without the user knowledge or consent. So there are other symptoms. So, but this is some of the symptoms that your PC or your computing device, your smartphone, maybe got malware. So your, for example, like your mobile smartphone, probably you need to charge it every day. I think the battery can last to say 12 hours or 18 hours, and then but now it only can last to up to say 6 hours. So this maybe is one of the symptoms of the malware. And some of the method in infiltration is using social engineering, which is manipulation of individual into performing action or to expose confidential information. Can using pretexting, like attacker calls an individual and lies to them and attempt to gain access to privileged data. So like, well, pretend to be like authority from like police or government agency, etc. Tailgating, this attacker quickly follows and flash person into secure location. So if the building is secure by, and then you need to use like card or PIN number to enter a room, and then people can basically just pretend to be like also employee, and then just tailgating, just follow you into entering the an office. And something for something like an attacker request personal information from a party and exchange for something. So they also have like Wi-Fi password cracking, as we use Wi-Fi or wireless connection in different places. So we need to be careful. So with people trying to crack the Wi-Fi password with using social engineering, like manipulate person who knows the password into providing it, like pretending to be IT support or from authority, etc. Or using brute force attack, which is basically try many different possible passwords combination to attempt to guess password. Network sniffing, the password may be discovered by listening and capturing packets sent on the network if the network is not secured properly. For example, by not using WPA to or exploit some of the software and hardware vulnerabilities. Then phishing is probably the most popular method for infiltration, and also very well. It's because it's easy to do, and it's very successful, used by the cybercrime. So basically, in phishing, malicious party sends fraud email disguised as being from legitimate trusted source. Phishing has been increased phishing accident when during the pandemic, because many people, they are waiting, or they wanted to have up-to-date information from authority, city council, from hospital, etc. So, and then cyber criminal basically use that expectation, and they disguise it from legitimate trusted sources, like from government, from hospital, and then police authority, etc. So trick the recipient into installing malware on their device, or sharing personal or financial information. So spear phishing is highly targeted phishing attack, not just random target. So some of the method of infiltration, like vulnerability exploitation. So basically, they scan to find vulnerability to exploit. So in step one, they gather information about the target system. They can use port scanner or social engineering, and then they learn information from step one. So they have, okay, I know one of for example, the operating system they use in this specific target. What is the version? What is the port currently open? And then is there any web browser they use or web server they install on that specific server? And then what is the version of that web server install? Are the software has vulnerabilities, has security bugs, so they can use it, they can exploit it. And then they look for vulnerability and then use known exploit or write the new exploit to try to exploit the specific software. So for example, they can use Nmap to gather information about specific targets. So Nmap, basically they can search what kind of ports are open for a specific target PC or server. For example, here they have this port 22, which is TCP, which is SSH, and then the version is OpenSSH 3.5 P1. So and then they can look actually if this specific software version has vulnerabilities. Then they also have, and then they can try it from similar to other different port open, which is port 53 open, and then port 111, port 63, 953, etc. And then they also have what they call it the APT, what is Advanced Persistent Threats, which is basically multi-phase long-term stealthy and advanced operation against a specific target, usually well-funded. So it's the organized crimes that be part of organized crime. So because it's usually well-funded, and then usually it's related to organization or nations. So and then they deploy customize, and then it's very complex malware. Some of the attack is DOS attack, which is denial of service attack, is disruption of the network services. So for example, with this DOS attacker, they send many pings, so the server can respond to anyone else. So this basically, and then the server is trying to access this web server is becoming very slow, because basically the server is busy to trying to accommodate this ping, respond to this ping from this attacker. So DOS is basically disruption of network services due by overwhelming quantity of traffic. So a network host or application is sent enormous quantity of data at rates which is very difficult to handle. And then they can also maliciously formatted packets. If maliciously formatted packet is sent to host or application, and basically the server can handle this packets. So DDoS is similar to DOS, but it's like a distributed denial of service. So they come from different multiple coordinate sources. So for example, like a botnet, which is a network of infected hosts, then zombie is an infected host. And zombies are controlled by handler system. The zombies continues to infect more hosts, creating more zombies. So for example here, so basically not just this attacker, the attack DOS code activated. So DOS attacker, so this is basically they already have like these two as a like a botnet, so it infected host, so they don't know if they are part of the botnet network. So when they open the computer, working computer connected to the internet, so basically because their computer is part of the botnet, so they also send this DDoS to this server. So it's basically, and then they can be 1,000 and then will be millions user which is infected by the botnet. And when the master, which is this attacker, they activated this botnet soldier, so they can, at the same time, simultaneously they send or sending packets to the same server. Basically, they cripple the server, so unusable for like authorized users. So it is regardless whether attack is targeted or untargeted. So it's basically cyber attacks have a number of stages in common. So, and particularly if it is carried out by a persistent adversary, may consist repeated stages. So basically, the attacker is effectively probing your defenses for weaknesses that if exploitable, so will take them closer to their ultimate goal. So understanding these stages will help us to better defend yourself. So this is like, we call it cyber kill chain. So the simplified is, the first is survey, which is reconnaissance, or sometimes they call it investigating and analyzing available information about the target. And then we will discuss before, like delivery, where getting to the point in system where vulnerability can be exploited. And then we try to do the third, which is breach, exploiting the vulnerability to gain some form of unauthorized access, and then affect, which is carrying out activities that achieve the goals. So now how we what our effort to protect our data and privacy. So there are some methods to protect our data and privacy. So for example, protecting our computing devices. So we keep the firewall on. So if you're using Windows, so normally, Microsoft Windows, so normally they already have firewall. So this is like prevent unauthorized access to your data and computing devices. And then we also need to keep the firewall up to date. Use antivirus to prevent unauthorized access to your data or computing devices. Only download software from trusted website, and then also keep the software up to date. Manage your operating system and browser, set the security setting at medium or higher. Update your computer's operating system and browser. Download and install the latest software patches and security updates, and then protect all your devices, like password protected, encrypt the data, only store necessary information. Also protect your IoT devices. And we also, because we need to protect our wireless connection, we use wireless network safely. So like home wireless network, change the preset SSID and default admin password. on the Wi-Fi router to like a more secure username and password, and we use a good password. And we can disable SSID broadcast, and we use, for example, like good encryption, like WPA2 encryption. So even though the WPA2 protocol security have flaws like a crack, which is allow intruders to break the encryption between wireless router and clients. And use caution when using public Wi-Fi hotspot. Free Wi-Fi is free, but actually you need to be careful. So avoid accessing or sending sensitive information, like when you reading your opening your email, or you purchasing something like online shopping, etc. So try to use a good VPN when you want to use public Wi-Fi hotspots, and then make sure that you always use the secure HTTP or HTTPS. So especially they can prevent eavesdropping. Then turn off Bluetooth when it's not in use. Use unique password for its online account. So this prevent criminals from accessing all your online account using one stolen credential. So some of the use password managers basically help to remembering passwords. And then there are tips to choosing a good password. So like do not use dictionary words or names in any languages, or do not use common misspelling of dictionary words. Do not use computer names or account names. Then, if possible, use special characters such as exclamation, add, as, dollar, percent, etc. Then use a password with 10 or more characters. So this is example of some of OK password and good password and better password. So then use passphrase rather than password. So tips in choosing good password is basically choose a meaningful statement to you. So then it's become easier to remember, and then add special characters. And then, the longer the better. So avoid comments of famous statement. For example, like lyrics from popular songs. So the summary of by the NIST, which is the organization in the US, which give like guidance to protect our data. So they provide, like, for example, like to have like 8 characters minimum in length. No common easily guessed passwords, such as password ABCD 1 2 3 4, etc. Because if you need to 8 characters, so ABCD and then 1 2 3 4. No composition rules, such as having to include lowercase and uppercase letters and numbers. No knowledge-based authentication, such as information from shared secret questions, marketing data, transaction history. Improve typing accuracy by allowing user to see password while typing. And so this is some example of like this is OK password, good, and then this is like better password. A cat that loves dogs, etc. So how to mitigate cyber attacks? Some of the mitigation, they can use access control, they can use encryption, authentication, and then regular security patches and updates, and then also physical security, and also use intrusion detection systems. So some of the example of intrusion detection system, like using this, for example, one of our papers, so to provide multi-layer SCADA cybersecurity framework with intrusion detection system. Basically, they have a multi-layer to protect SCADA system using multi-layer intrusion detection system. So there are like different, if we look at taxonomy of IDS or intrusion detection system, so they can have like a different intrusion technique, like anomaly-based detection or signature-based. So anomaly-based detection is currently more preferred because they have like they can detect a zero-day attack, for example. So let's look at the trends. So if I look top trend in cybersecurity in 2022, gathered by Gartner. So it's listed 7 trends. So for example, in the first trend is like attack surface expansion. So currently around 60% of knowledge worker are remote. So at least 18% will not return to the office because after the pandemic. So this changes in the way we work together with greater use of public cloud, highly connected supply chains, and use of cyber physical system has exposed new and challenging attack surfaces. So this leaves organization more vulnerable to attack. So for example, in here, Gartner recommends security leaders look at beyond traditional approaches to security monitoring, detection, and respond to manage a wider set of risks. Trend number 2 is identity system defense. So identity systems are coming under sustained attacks. So misuse of credential is now primary method that attackers use to access systems and achieve their goals. For example, in the SolarWinds breach happened last year. So attackers use suppliers' privileged access to infiltrate the target network. So trend number 3 is digital supply chain race. So it is predicted by 2025, like 45% of organizations worldwide will have experienced attacks on their software supply chains, like a 3-fold increase from 2021. So in this, security and risk management leaders need to partner with other departments to prioritize digital supply chain risk and put pressure on suppliers to demonstrate security best practice. Trend number 4 is vendor consolidation, like security products are converging, so vendors are consolidating security functions into single platforms and introducing pricing and licensing options to make package solution more attractive. While it may introduce new challenges such as reduced negotiating power and potential single points of failure. Well, Gartner sees consolidation as a welcome trend that should reduce complexity, cut costs, and improve efficiency, leading to better overall security. Trend number 5 is like cybersecurity mesh. It's a modern conceptual approach to security architecture that enables the distributed enterprise to deploy and integrate security to assets, whether they are on premises, in data centers, or in the cloud. So then number 6 is distributed decisions. So executive leaders need a fast and agile cybersecurity function to support digital businesses' priorities. So however, as more aspects of the businesses are digitalized, the job is becoming too big for centralized CIS or Chief Information Security Officer role. So leading organizations are building the office of the CISO to enable distributed cyber judgment. So the CISO and the centralized function will continue to set policy, while cybersecurity leaders are placed in different parts of the organization to decentralize security decisions, and this to make decisions quicker. So trend number 7 is beyond awareness. So we realize that human errors continues to feature in most data breaches, showing that traditional approaches to security awareness training are ineffective. So progressive organizations are moving beyond outdated compliance-based awareness campaigns and investing in holistic behavior and culture change program designed to promote more secure ways of working. So some of the And here we will cover some of the like challenges. So if we look at the cybersecurity statistics, so like 95% of cybersecurity breaches are caused by human errors. Then 43% of all breaches are insider threats, either intentional or unintentional. Data breaches exposed around 22 billion records in 2021. About 70% of breaches in 2021 were financially motivated. Only less than 5% motivated by espionage. In 2021, nearly 40% of breaches feature phishing, and around 11% involve malware, and about 20%, 22% involve hacking. The average cost of data breach was around 4 million in 2021. This is highest average on record. It's keep increasing. So when we look at this, our biggest data breaches and hacks, so got it from this website, so we can see like many organizations have been victims of data breaches and hacks. We have like Facebook, about like 500 millions. Then we have Microsoft, we have Capital One, we have Canva, we have T-Mobile, Twitter, Quora. So and then like there's Indian Citizen or Shanghai Police, Pakistani mobile operator, etc. So and this is in 2001. So and then one is 2022. So it's from 2017. So if we go to this website, actually, you can see like more data. So what kind of data, like security breach or data breach, they have been happening? So for example, this is one of this data. So like group it by data sensitivity. So like email addresses, etc. So involving Facebook, LinkedIn, eBay, then Microsoft, Twitter, Quora, etc. And then they also have like personal detail and password, which is involving Facebook in 2019 and Yahoo in 2013 and 2016. It was quite big news at the time. Then some is also involving credit cards and banking, such as involving Marriott International. And it's also involving health and personal data, like Equifax, spam bot, or some other full data or sensitive details, like Shanghai Police basically have like details data. So as also some other data they can have. So for example, like in LinkedIn, in 2021, so data breach exposed around 700 million users, or about 93% of LinkedIn members. Then an attack on Microsoft in 2021 affecting more than 30,000 organizations. So this that we discussed before, using like SolarWinds. And then we have like nearly 48 million people had their personal information stolen in 2021 in T-Mobile data breach. So in Indonesia, probably we know this icon is very popular. So this example of data breach is happening all over the place, and also all over also in Indonesia. So hopefully with the Undang-Undang PDP that's been formally launched or legalized, so they can protect our customer data more securely. So we can look at different like cyber threat map here. So for kind of looking at the cyber attack. So for example, this FireEye cyber threat map. So you can use what is currently happening in this cyber currently happening at the involving cyber attack. And there are like project is rise of number of cyber attacks, so we can see the number of cyber attack is like steadily increasing. So this is like challenges, some of the challenges we need to solve actually. And then this is if we look at average weekly attacks per organization by industry. So we see education and research organization got the most attack, and then followed by government or military. So for different reasons. So some of the reason is education, is basically because they don't have a lot of funding to hire people to have like a good security, to employ good security guys into security team basically to protect their sites. So that's one of the example. And then because in research, basically they also have like, for example, during pandemic, so many hackers are trying to store the, for example, vaccine information, etc. And then government obviously they have like many because they're going to store like sensitive information. Okay, so and then when we have trends and then challenges, so we have some opportunities. Of opportunities is basically one opportunity is actually they with the challenges that we facing in cybersecurity. So we need to be aware that cybersecurity is we need to aware about the cybersecurity issues, and there are a lot of opportunities working in this in cybersecurity aspect. For example, if we look in this high level of cybersecurity career, so we can see like different discipline in cybersecurity. So as you are studying informatics, so it's basically this related to your studies. So you can have, for example, like in skill needed in cybersecurity, for example, in security operations, which is kind of frontline in cybersecurity, working in security operations center, SOC, so responsible for day-to-day system management, monitoring, and initial response to cyber attacks. So the skill sets of these people tend to be wide-ranging, so as they ultimately responsible for maintaining security posture across all technology within organization. And this also have digital forensics and incident response. So is basically one of the key aspects of cybersecurity is responding to incoming attacks and investigating the origins and impacts of an attack as an occur. So the skill sets and roles focus on this type of things. They are collectively known as digital forensic and incident response. So incident response personnel are ultimately called upon to provide coordinated and highly methodological response to security incidents. So there's also security architecture and design, which is responsible for specifying, designing, and typically implementing security controls and technologies. So these roles are often held by individuals who are familiar with the wide range of security technologies, from firewall to end-to-end protection to security incident and event management or CM solutions. So security architecture and design resources also need to have particular familiarity with emerging threats and be able to at least informally develop threat models. Security architects is responsible for not just defining requirements and designing a security solution, but also communicating that solution to various levels of the organization in order to win funding and support. There's also security assessment and verification. So includes activities that not only seek to find vulnerabilities that we discussed before, but also to provide tracking of known weaknesses to ensure they are properly prioritized and addressed. Within IT, the scope of these activities can include networks, infrastructure, components, and software. However, the scope also extends beyond just IT system. It can also include physical security, personnel, and even a review of publicly available information about the organization, which is known as open source intelligence. So they includes, for example, like pen testing, etc. And then we have application software and product security, which focuses on elements that are developed by the organization for sale to customers to support service provided to their customer or to support internal processes. Application security commonly describe how organizations ensure the security of software they have developed. So the application security is well understood as applying security practices within the software development lifecycle. So studies over multiple decades have repeatedly shown that finding and fixing security flaws early in application development is cheaper and more effective than if the flaws are not discovered until the software has hit production. So obviously, technical skills are important in the application software and product security discipline. So understanding how software and products are developed down to a code or a component level is extremely beneficial for these goals. Then governance and role and governance and compliance, so role that is much bigger than just cybersecurity. Governance and compliant personnel work with more of the administrative side of the organization, like interaction with legal and audit function is common within the governance and compliance discipline. So experience with legal or audit roles is particularly useful. Strong entrepreneurial skills are also needed as these roles require interaction with technical teams and high-level management teams. And then we also have like a discipline in education and awareness, like we discussed before. So the human element is still the weakest link in the cybersecurity. So the human element has been growing area of concern for some time in terms of cybersecurity. So many of the most publicized attacks take advantage of human error and social engineering at some point along their path. As a result, across all industry and sectors, educating employees, customers, users, and even the general public is becoming like urgent need or becoming commonplace. And then also roles in sales and sales support. So selling security products doesn't just happen. So salespeople, sales engineers, solution architects, and others all play role in the process. So they don't get there by accident either. So salespeople need to understand the concepts of cybersecurity that drive what the product they are selling. So sales engineer and solutions architects, they need deep technical knowledge of the product they are supporting in order to help customers find the right solution and configure it in the proper way that it fits their organization. The skill sets required for this role demands a level of understanding in security principles and even specific training on security tools and techniques. While this disciplinary roles, basically this, then we have the Chief of Information Security Officer, the CSISO role, which is often the pinnacle of the cybersecurity career. So this role basically responsible for all things related to cybersecurity across a large division or even entire breadth of an organization. So from security operation into like sales and support. And SISO needs to be able to apply knowledge of cybersecurity domain as well as business management to situation that they will encounter on daily basis. They need to see how each of these 8 categories of cybersecurity disciplines fit together in integrated cohesive strategy. More important, the CISO also need to understand how other business executives operate and how cybersecurity fits into each of the perspective. So in summaries, actually, so we discuss about explain the feature and characteristics of cybersecurity and why your personal data is important, is vulnerable to cyber criminals, and give some tips on how you can protect your personal online identity and data. So we also discuss organizational data, what is it, and why it must be protected. And we also discuss security software and hardware vulnerabilities and different categories of security vulnerabilities. So we also talk about different types of malware and symptoms of malware explains, such as like worms, Trojan horse, spyware, etc. And then we also discuss the different ways that attackers can infiltrate a system, including using social engineering with password cracking, phishing, and also vulnerability exploitation. And we also mentioned about the basic mitigation techniques also has been described. And then finally, we'll look at the trends and challenges and also some opportunities, which is the cybersecurity includes several high-level disciplines and it comprises many roles and job functions. So cybersecurity path, career paths encompasses more than just those focus on highly technical responsibility. Okay, so I well, thank you for this statement. So some of the references. So I'm ready to have some small quiz here before we move to question and answer. So bagaimana Pak? Mana langsung aja?
Silakan Pak. Ya, kuisnya dalam bentuk online kah? Bagaimana? Monggo di
online. Jadi mungkin cepat-cepatan aja ya. Kalau mau menjawab, peserta bisa langsung menjawab gitu kali ya.
Jawabnya di mana Pak? Diketik atau bagaimana?
Ya diketik aja ya kayaknya.
Oh ya, oke. Jadi nanti Pak Bernard akan melemparkan pertanyaan di presentasinya. Nanti silakan para peserta menjawab dengan langsung mengetik di chat ya. Oke.
Langsung jawab ya, cepet-cepetan gitu ya.
Oke. Ya Pak.
Oke, so ada 5 pertanyaan ya. Oke, siap. Pertanyaan pertama. Do you think NIK or nomor induk pendudukan is confidential data? A, yes. B, no.
Silahkan langsung ketikkan A atau no. Ya, yes itu. Oke. Ini kayaknya kebanyakan jawabnya yes.
Oke. Yes ya. Ini nanti yang jawab pertama bisa minta hadiahnya ke Pak Mandahadi ini ya. Mungkin bisa kredit nilai.
Iya.
Bu Maria Ulfa. Nanti di ini aja. Ada 5 pertanyaan sih.
Iya, Pak. Nah, Pak,
Oke ya, jadi ini
pertanyaan berikutnya.
yang benar yes ya. Jadi ini kita harus aware ya bahwa NIK ini ya sangat penting gitu. Ya, siap. Pertanyaan berikutnya ya. Which company has the biggest data breach in 2021? LinkedIn, B Yahoo, C Facebook, D Twitter.
Gitu. Ya, C. Sini pada menjawab C.
C ya, pertama ya.
Ya.
Facebook ya.
Tadi.
Ya, betul ya. Facebook sekitar hampir 500 juta ya. Lebih dari 500 juta. Oke, next ya. What is an example of cyber attack mitigation? A, intrusion detection system, B, information security, C, penetration testing, D, DDoS.
Ya. Ayo, jawab yang ini apa ya? Jawabannya C. Menjawab contoh dari
Wah, ini C semua.
C. Penetration testing.
Ini ngikut temennya aja, belum tentu benar itu ya. Jangan ngikut temennya aja nih.
Ya, D. Mitigasi ya, kata kuncinya mitigasi.
Mitigasi kata kuncinya.
Mitigasi, ya. Kata kuncinya di mitigasi.
Wah,
Oke. Ini ada yang jawab apa, Pak?
Sudah ada yang benar.
Ya,
Jawabannya
yang benar. Ya, jawabannya A. Nah, Mas Badul Hilmi sudah jawab A benar.
Jadi penetration testing bukan termasuk mitigasi ya, tapi kemudian pencegahan gitu. Oke. Yang ke berikutnya ya. So, which country has been victim of Stuxnet?
Ini susah jawabannya.
Ini yang terkenal aja tadi udah ya dibahas ya salah satu itu. Jadi mungkin kalau yang tadi itu udah benar itu Iran gitu ya yang tulis itu ya. Siapa ini? Lutfi ya. Iran ya, C ya. Dan yang terakhir ini menjawab ya. Dan kelima, and which online forum the sensitive data from PLN data breach is getting sold and distributed. So, dan apa nama websitenya? Gitu.
Nama websitenya apa?
Ya di
tempat
Biorka.
Jualan.
Kalau ngikutin itu tahu itu apa? Spesifik online forumnya itu.
Ya, online forumnya apa?
Tadi ada gambarnya.
Tempat ada yang tahu tempat Biorka langsung jualan nama websitenya di Bridge. Nama
itu. Wah, itu kayaknya habis Google ini. Bridge.to. Ya.
Kayak
ya yang bridge.to.
Kurang ID, Pak. Kurang ID. Kurang bridge. Bridge.to harusnya. Harusnya bridge.to.
Betul.
Typo. Kurang ID. Ya. Oke.
Oke ya, itu mungkin. Terima kasih sudah menjawab quiz-quiznya. Mudah-mudahan sharing tadi bermanfaat dan increase awareness kita tentang personal dan personal data ya, terutama dengan di online ya. Mungkin kita bisa lanjut dengan tanya jawab ya kalau ada pertanyaan yang bisa berdiskusi.
Ya, ini sudah ada pertanyaan dari Mas Badul, Mas Hilmi lah ya, Mas Hilmi. Pertama pertanyaannya mungkin langsung saya artikan aja. Biasanya tool yang digunakan hacker untuk menjebol itu apa saja, Pak Bernard? Apakah
Ya, saya baca
toolsnya
ini.
saat yang digunakan? Dan pertanyaan kedua, bagaimana dengan sekarang kan ada web 3.0 baru dalam tahap development katanya. Itu yang menggunakan blockchain. Apakah itu bisa membantu? Bagaimana pandangan Pak Bernard dalam hal cyber security web 3.0 ini? Begitu pandangannya.
Ya, langsung dijawab ya.
Iya, monggo Pak.
Ya, terima kasih atas pertanyaannya ya. Untuk tools ya, ini memang ya banyak sekali ya toolsnya ya, dan terutama tadi yang sudah kita jelaskan ada apa kill chain steps gitu ya. Jadi untuk tools yang pertama misalnya yang untuk kemudian reconnaissance atau kemudian scan target itu kan biasanya yang dipakai misalnya Nmap gitu ya, untuk melihat port yang open di satu target komputer gitu ya. Dan ini kalau kemudian belajar specifically tentang kemudian penetration testing, itu akan belajar tentang tool-tool ini ya. Terutama biasanya memang toolnya berbasiskan Unix atau Linux ya gitu ya. Jadi di situ ada berbagai macam tools yang kemudian misalnya untuk scanning Wi-Fi password misalnya ada tools yang beda lagi gitu ya. Jadi sudah ada, kalau kemudian salah satu varian Linux yang bisa dipakai kali Linux ya, gitu ya, itu yang banyak kemudian toolsnya sudah dikumpulkan di situ gitu ya, bisa dipakai gitu ya, banyak dipakai di situ, dan tentunya makin expert si hacker ya, akhirnya dia bisa kemudian mengembangkan toolsnya sendiri dari tools yang sudah ada gitu. Dan tadi kalau misalnya levelnya amatir gitu ya, script kiddies ya, dia cuma pakai aja gitu, nyoba gitu kan. Ada tools misalnya untuk using DDoS itu tinggal misalnya kemudian dia ngirim ping paket berapa banyak gitu dan sebagainya. Ini memang bisa dilakukan. Gitu. Itu ya mungkin jawaban singkatnya ya. Ini jadi seperti kalau kemudian belajar tentang penetration testing ya, itu akan ya belajar menjadi biasanya dibagi dua gitu ya kalau di sini ya. Jadi misalnya satu sebagai red team, ada sebagai blue team gitu ya. Red team sebagai yang menyerang gitu ya, kemudian yang blue teamnya sebagai yang kemudian mempertahankan. Ini jadi bisa bagus sebagai ajang untuk kemudian berlatih ya untuk menyerang dan mempertahankan komputer atau kemudian server yang kita. Gitu. Kemudian saya lanjut pertanyaan berikutnya ya tentang Web 3.0 ya, blockchain teknologi. Ini memang sekarang lagi ya masih banyak dipakai ya. Secara teoretikal memang kemudian blockchain ini bisa lebih memperkuat di sisi cyber security dengan kemudian decentralized, dan ini memang masih menjadi salah satu hot research topic gitu ya. Jadi kalau kemudian ya kalau kebetulan masih memilih project final project gitu ya untuk itu mungkin ini blockchain bisa sebagai salah satu topik yang menarik gitu. Dan tentunya blockchain ini dipakai di mana-mana gitu ya, berusaha diimplementasikan di berbagai bidang. Apakah ini akan membantu secara teori? Ya, tapi secara kemudian kalau melihat pengalaman dari yang dulu-dulu, hackers ini selalu, bad hackers ya, selalu kemudian selangkah lebih maju ya dari security-nya itu sendiri. Jadi akan bisa menemukan celah gitu. Dan memang itu seperti race arm competition gitu ya. Jadi memang ya kemudian ketika ada celah ya kemudian buru-buru kita menutupnya. Seperti kita lihat gitu. Banyak organisasi yang atau ya perusahaan besar pun bisa apa istilahnya bobol gitu ya oleh security. Karena memang ya software vulnerabilities ini sangat sulit gitu. Dan tidak ada software yang 100% sempurna gitu ya. Karena ya manusia tidak sempurna dan software buatan manusia gitu ya. Yang sempurna hanya Allah gitu ya. Jadi memang banyak jadi ya banyak kemudian cara dengan blockchain salah satu caranya untuk kemudian mereduksi security issues. Ya itu mungkin jawaban singkatnya.
Ada lagi pertanyaan,
Pertanyaan
dari
lagi.
mana? Hana Ifah. Ini tentang jadi yang populer sekarang salah satunya yang cyber attack itu adalah DDoS dan social engineering. Tapi di Indonesia many people consider social engineering teknik itu udah biasa. Meskipun itu teknik biasa tapi sering efektif terjadi untuk sebagai sarana untuk menyerang social engineering ini. Bagaimana kita menghandle masalah tersebut? Mungkin berarti ini maksudnya mungkin masalah social engineering ya, bagaimana kita mengatasinya. Kemudian yang kedua tadi disebutkan ini what do you think about the new IoT botnet malware rapper bot? Nah, itu bertanya mungkin tentang malware IoT botnet rapper bot. Oke, monggo Pak Dr. Pak Bernard jawab.
Ya, terima kasih atas pertanyaannya. Ya memang research ya membuktikan gitu bahwa memang ya social engineering ya termasuk kemudian ya phishing itu memang paling efektif gitu ya. Tidak hanya di Indonesia, di negara-negara lain juga sama gitu dan sangat maksudnya sangat populer di kalangan cyber kriminal karena itu mudah dilakukan dan juga murah. Ini social engineering ya. Jadi ya tentunya salah satu mitigasinya kemudian untuk mencegah kita terjebak dengan social engineering ya kita selalu update gitu ya tentang ya kasus-kasus cyber security gitu ya. Kita lihat dan kita update kemudian seperti tadi ya increase public awareness ya tentang cyber security. Pentingnya kemudian bahwa misalnya NIK itu confidential dan tidak boleh sembarangan disebar. Tapi kita bisa lihat kan di Indonesia itu misalnya beli gorengan bungkusnya kartu keluarga itu kan rame itu di sosial media. Gitu. Saya nggak pernah kalau di negara-negara Eropa misalnya ya, itu dengan undang-undang GDPR itu ya, dan ini senada dengan undang-undang PDP itu ya. Itu tidak akan bisa seperti itu karena kemudian yang perusahaannya yang kemudian organisasinya institusinya yang menyimpan data itu dia akan kena denda. Jadi misalnya ya bisa denda di penjara atau dan sebagainya kalau kemudian terbukti lalai gitu menyimpan data-data yang sensitif ini. Dan tentunya kita harus ya tadi ya kemudian aware bahwa kemudian kasus-kasus tentang penipuan melalui phishing dan sebagainya gitu. Jadi ketika kemudian saya cerita ada PhD student yang kemudian yang di Inggris di sini yang kemudian ditelepon mengaku orang ini dari kepolisian, itu dia percaya saja gitu kan. Karena ya mungkin dia baru datang gitu ya, belum terlalu aware gitu ya. Nah, saya sudah usulkan untuk PPI ya, Persatuan Pelajar Indonesia di sini, untuk kemudian ya dikasih gitu ya, misalnya kemudian atau yang dari beasiswa LPDP untuk kemudian diberikan training-training seperti ini sebelum berangkat gitu. Jadi awareness about cybercrime, etc. Ini yang terus memang harus terus belajar gitu ya. Dan ya saya pun terus belajar gitu, karena kemudian kasusnya baru gitu ya. Jadi tekniknya memang selalu baru gitu kan. Jadi sangat meyakinkan sekali yang saya dengar itu ya. Jadi mengakunya dari polisi gitu ya. Dan sampai kemudian yang korbannya ini merasa seperti dihipnotis gitu ya. Jadi mentransfer uangnya itu dari banknya ke bank lain gitu ya. Kalau kita dengar ceritanya dari luar mungkin kok aneh gitu ya, susah dipercaya, tapi terjadi gitu ya. Sangat meyakinkan gitu, teknik-tekniknya. Jadi memang kalau misalnya kita ada yang ragu, misalnya ketika ada yang telepon itu, sebaiknya mungkin segera bertanya gitu ya, bertanya ke ya misalnya kalau ada teman di sekitar kita, atau kemudian lewat atau di grup gitu ya, grup WA atau dan sebagainya gitu ya. Mudah-mudahan akan bisa, kalau grup banyak kita harus segera menjawab gitu ya. Ini kira-kira telepon call dari polisi ini umum nggak di Inggris misalnya gitu kan, dan ternyata nggak umum gitu kan. Dan dia kan mungkin karena kurang tahu gitu ya di situ. Jadi itu yang kemudian menjadi korban. Kemudian pertanyaan kedua, IoT botnet rapper bot. Ya terus terang saya nggak terlalu tahu ya gitu ya tentang yang baru, karena banyak sekali ya malware ini. Jadi ya botnet ini memang kita yang tadi kalau kita jelaskan ya, jadi akan banyak sekali gitu ya. Kemudian botnet, dan tapi prinsipnya satu gitu ya, mereka akan punya master of the puppets gitu ya. Nah, kemudian botnet soldier-nya jadi puppet-nya yang akan jalan gitu kan. Banyak sekali botnet yang ada gitu ya, dan yang salah satu yang terkenal adalah dia Stuxnet gitu ya, yang kemudian memang sangat complicated, dan itu terbukti dicurigai kemudian ini adalah organized crime gitu ya, dari sebuah negara gitu ya, yang ya termasuk cyber warfare tadi ya. Karena ketika kemudian dibedah gitu ya, code-nya ini sangat ya sophisticated gitu ya, dan hanya bisa dikerjakan unlikely bisa dikerjakan oleh individual hacker gitu ya, karena dia butuh resources dan yang cukup gitu untuk membuat ini. Iya, itu mungkin mudah-mudahan menjawab para pertanyaan-pertanyaannya. Kalau ada yang ini boleh silakan kalau ada lagi yang ditanyakan.
Mungkin sedikit tambahan pertanyaan dari saya. Simpel aja pertanyaannya, Pak Benwat. Kalau di UK itu biasanya di pemerintahannya atau di kampusnya, di kampus sendiri itu ada kegiatan fotokopi KTP nggak ya, sekian buat, atau fotokopi KK gitu buat dikumpulin? Biasanya ada nggak gitu? Karena di sini banyak. Bahkan di fakultas pun pasti ada gitu, pasti diminta fotokopi KTP dan KK untuk syarat-syarat tertentu biasanya. Ada nggak di sana?
Ya, tidak ada. Itu jawaban singkatnya ya. Jadi memang itu salah satu yang sering disorot ya, untuk fotokopi KTP dan KK ini ya di Indonesia, dan mudah-mudahan kedepannya ini sudah tidak dilakukan lagi ya, karena kan di KTP dan KK ini kan memang ada yang data-data konfidensial gitu ya. Jadi apakah memang perlu KTP dan KK ini? Apakah tidak cuma ditunjukkan saja gitu ya, cukup gitu ya? Jadi sini jarang sekali gitu ya. Memang Nah, memang ada yang khusus misalnya untuk urusan imigrasi gitu ya. Itu memang dia perlu gitu ya, misalnya ya paspor gitu kan. Ya memang harus perlu gitu kan, di fotokopi ya sih memang ada gitu ya. Tapi itu kan jarang-jarang gitu. Mungkin kita ngurusnya ya kalau visa habis gitu ya, mungkin berapa, kalau student itu kan 4 tahun gitu ya. Kalau mau memperpanjang gitu ya, dan sebagainya. Itu jadi jarang sih, jarang sekali gitu ya. Kemudian seringnya itu memang ketemu dan dibawa gitu ya. Jadi paspornya cuma dibawa aja gitu kan. Diliatin oke gitu ya. Nanti dia akan ya di verified gitu. Oke, sudah benar gitu misalnya. Iya, itu mungkin jawaban sih.
Ya, soalnya emang kita nih di Indonesia terutama ya, apalagi sudah mau 2024, pemilu biasanya yang namanya bansos, bantuan sosial itu pasti kumpulin kumpulin KTP KK ke RT RW. Ada lagi yang untuk pemilu biasanya pasti kumpulin KTP juga, biasanya gitu, kumpulin KTP ya pasti ada selalu kegiatan fotokopi KTP. Nah itu kayaknya ya jadinya ya data kita tuh meskipun NIK-nya katanya konfidensial, tapi ya nyatanya di sini ya sudah jadi rahasia umum jadinya ya. Rahasia umum, rahasia bersama,
Iya.
rahasia umum jadi. Ya itu mungkin yang harus diperbaiki di Indonesia sendiri ya. Baik, terima kasih Pak Bernard atas pencerahan dan insight yang baru yang diberikan ke kami. Mungkin banyak pandangan-pandangan baru yang bisa kita jadikan pelajaran bersama. Ini kebetulan sudah jam 3, jadi sebelum saya tutup, saya mau membacakan sedikit kesimpulan dari presentasi yang tadi sudah diberikan. Oh ya, nanti presentasinya bisa di-share ya Pak? Tadi PowerPoint yang tadi?
Iya, bisa insya Allah.
Oke, di-share ya. Ini sebelum saya tutup, saya akan membaca sedikit 5 menit saja untuk catatan yang saya buat tadi selama presentasi, yaitu pertama, cyber security itu bukan cuman sebuah software atau perangkat keras tertentu, tapi itu adalah sebuah proses yang terus berjalan, ongoing proses, ya dengan tujuan untuk melindungi data kita, baik itu data personal, data perusahaan, sampai data nasional level dari tangan-tangan yang tidak bertanggung jawab. Nah, jadi proses cyber security itu adalah proses yang selalu berulang dan akan selalu baru, karena setiap namanya maling ya, setiap jenis serangan pasti akan selalu berevolusi terus dari tahun ke tahun. Kemudian faktanya cyber attack itu sudah sering terjadi, dan pada tahun 2021 sendiri ada yang terbanyak itu cybercrime, kemudian disusul dengan fraud scam, kemudian phishing attack itu sering terjadi, dan juga yang sering terjadi di kita adalah human error. Nah, kemudian kenapa kita membutuhkan cyber security? Karena cyber security itu pertama dimaksudkan melindungi data pribadi secara online. Jadi sebelum kita berbicara lebih jauh tentang cyber security, paling tidak kita melindungi data pribadi kita dulu masing-masing. Bisa dimulai dari diri sendiri, yaitu dengan memilih bagian mana yang ingin kita tampilkan di internet gitu. Nah, informasi personal, informasi apa yang perlu kita tampilkan dan mana yang harus kita sembunyikan. Kemudian karena data pribadi yang terlalu terbuka, misalnya kita sering mengupdate status, misalnya di Twitter atau di Facebook, kegiatan sehari-hari secara rutin, misalnya lari pagi setiap hari dengan track-nya demikian, itu bisa dilacak oleh orang-orang yang tak bertanggung jawab, jadi bisa orang bisa tahu aktivitas kita sehari-hari, dan itu bisa mungkin akan berbahaya bagi diri kita sendiri. Terutama kalau kita public figure ya, jadi bisa adanya penculikan atau dan lain sebagainya. Ya. Kemudian privasi data, beberapa privasi data, contohnya adalah gambar anak yang pasti selalu di blur karena itu ada konsen anak sendiri yang harus dilindungi. Kemudian yang perlu diingat juga termasuk personal data itu adalah health record kita, kemudian financial data, kemudian termasuk juga education record yang detail maksudnya. Kalau cuman transkrip nilai dan ijazah, saya nggak tahu transkrip nilai dan ijazah, kira-kira kalau di-share online boleh nggak? Pak Bernard,
Iya,
kalau
confidential juga kan.
transkrip umum sama ijazah, itu gimana kira-kira? Bahaya
Kalau
nggak ya?
misalnya nilai kan ini juga confidential juga sebetulnya kan.
Indonesia ya.
Kalau nilainya bagus
Ya,
mungkin nggak apa-apa gitu ya. Kalau nanti ada yang jelek gitu kan.
ya. Transkrip dan ijazah mungkin konfidensial ya, bisa di-share kalau memang benar-benar diperlukan oleh perusahaan tertentu saja.
Yang perlu aja, nggak perlu di-share di sosial
internet
media.
Ya nggak perlu dipamerin, nggak perlu dipamerin. Kemudian ada juga employment and financial record, juga itu termasuk data yang konfidensial yang harus dilindungi oleh perusahaan. Kemudian perlu diingat juga personal data, di mana data kita, intinya sih personal data itu ya sekarang karena zamannya sudah zaman online semua, data kita di mana-mana ada, apalagi kalau misalnya data computing device ini yang saya tangkap, terutama computing device ya, kita nggak sadar suka ngirim data biasanya ke Microsoft, itu kan suka ada apa ya, trackbacknya itu juga suka sering, kalau atau juga misalnya kalau kita melakukan coba-coba benchmark, bisa pakai HP atau pakai komputer, biasanya itu kan dia nanti ngirim data ke perusahaan benchmarknya. Nah, itu bisa jadi data mereka. Itu bisa mungkin suatu saat bisa menguntungkan, apalagi kalau misalnya datanya disimpan di perusahaan tersebut itu bocor, kemudian bisa digunakan oleh orang-orang yang tak bertanggung jawab gitu. Itu bisa menguntungkan. Mungkin di sana ada record data perangkat kita, atau bahkan mungkin alamat IP kita, dan seterusnya ya. Kita nggak tahu yang dikirim ke sana apa saja. Kemudian kenapa penting kita menyimpan data pribadi ya? Kenapa penting? Karena bisa dimanfaatkan oleh orang yang tak bertanggung jawab. Yang paling sering digunakan biasanya untuk pinjam online, pinjol, itu sering terjadi. Dengar juga. Kalau bisa kita harus jangan meremehkan, intinya data NIK, KK, nama ayah, nama ibu, dan seterusnya itu jangan diremehkan, karena bisa jadi itu bisa digunakan sebagai kejahatan. Salah satu yang sering terjadi yaitu kredit online, atau kalau di Indonesia namanya pinjol gitu. Dan di sini juga ada, kalau di Eropa itu ada ada undang-undangnya, namanya undang-undang GDPR. Kayaknya di Indonesia tadi disebutkan sedang dibuat undang-undangnya untuk melindungi personal data tersebut.
Sudah resmi sudah resmi
sudah,
PDP.
Sudah.
Ya.
Gini, baru ya. Mungkin gara-gara dipicu juga gara-gara Biorka kemarin gitu.
Ya.
Ya.
Itu salah satu manfaatnya Biorka.
Biorka. Dipicu oleh Biorka, jadinya lebih rajin DPR-nya membuat undang-undang, masalah itu langsung sadar. Kemudian security breach yang sering terjadi, salah satu lama sekali sudah digodok. Lama sekali digodok.
Ya, godoknya prosesnya lama sekali itu, nggak disahkan.
Ya, baru kemarin karena Biorka, kejadian di Biorka itu langsung disahkan itu, gitu ya. Kemudian security breach yang terjadi yang paling simple biasanya transfer datanya dalam bentuk plain text. Jadi tidak pakai SSL. Jadi ada contoh kasus 2015 data customer bocor. Dan juga ada yang paling rumit, yang masuk yang rumit lah, mungkin bukan paling rumit ya, mungkin masuk yang rumit dan terkoordinir itu perserangan di Iran di fasilitas nuklir oleh Stuxnet. Mungkin itu termasuk serangan yang paling yang rumit ya, dan mungkin ada indikasi ada peran dari negara lain yang menyerang negara tertentu. Kemudian Kevin, salah satu cara menemukan security vulnerability ada beberapa cara. Bisa menggunakan, yang paling sering digunakan adalah mencari exploit, menggunakan exploit untuk mencari bug atau pada sistem atau pada software. Kemudian juga dengan memahami tahapan serangan yang ada yang terjadi di internet, dari tahapan scanning sampai tahapan attack, sampai tahapan masuk ke dalam sistem, dengan memahami setiap tahap tersebut dapat membantu kita untuk mendesain sebuah pertahanan juga gitu. Jadi kita tahu bagaimana maling menyerang, jadi kita bisa tahu bagaimana cara bertahan. Salah satu cara bertahan yaitu dengan melindungi perangkat kita dengan menggunakan firewall, selalu update software, dan jangan mendownload software-software yang ilegal di tempat-tempat yang tidak semestinya. Kemudian gunakan network secara aman, gunakan password dengan aman, salah satunya adalah menggunakan passphrase. Dan dari tren cyber security ada 7 tren di cyber security oleh Gartner. Mungkin salah satu tren tersebut bisa Anda kaji lagi lebih dalam, syukur-syukur bisa menjadi bahan penelitian, bahan tulisan, bisa untuk skripsi atau penelitian yang lain. Itu mungkin sangat bisa. Jadi kalau mau mulai penelitian tentang cyber security, mungkin bisa dimulai dari melihat tren cyber security oleh Gartner yang tadi telah disebutkan. Kemudian surprisingly, faktanya bahwa serangan itu yang paling banyak mingguan terjadi itu di education atau di research facilities. Ya, mungkin berarti di kampus ya. Kampus sering kena serang, atau mungkin web sekolah biasanya yang sering kena serang. Mungkin karena cenderung, nggak tahu ya, cenderung mudah atau menarik datanya atau bagaimana. Kemudian selain itu, karena di sisi cyber security banyak serangan, itu juga membuat kesempatan bagi kita, opportunities di bidang cyber security. Dengan berbagai cabang keilmuannya kita bisa masuk di sana. Tadi ada beberapa cabang keilmuan yang kita bisa memperdalam, dan itu menjadi opportunity bagi orang-orang yang ingin mendalami cyber security. Yang penting technical skill dari cyber security itu adalah penting. Oke, mungkin demikian dari saya untuk kesimpulan yang saya tulis tadi. Mungkin ada lebih, kalau ada kekurangan saya mohon maaf. Nanti kalau untuk detailnya kita bisa lihat lagi di presentasi yang akan nanti di-share di mana di-share ya? Panitia di mana share presentasinya? Di grup ya nanti ya? Nanti akan kami share di grup mahasiswa gitu. Sudah jam 3.20. Sekali lagi terima kasih atas materi dan presentasi yang diberikan oleh Dr. Bernard setelah meluangkan waktunya untuk kuliah umum ini. Alhamdulillah acara kita telah berlangsung dengan lancar, tidak ada kendala. Saya tutup. Akhirul kalam. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pak Ben, terima kasih Pak Ben.
Sama-sama.
Sama-sama Pelani.
Pamit dulu.
Ya, silakan Pak peserta juga sudah boleh keluar. Saya pamit juga